the pieces for our legacy mural, the first thing we're going to do is start with some leaf shapes. So we're going to make a bunch of different kinds of leaves. So you can see I've already got my templates here, and here are some of the clay pieces that I've already made. So let me show you how I went about making those pieces. It is a piece of cake. I scoot these out of the way. The first thing you'll need to do is just take a piece of clay, roll it into a sphere. Once you've got your sphere, go ahead and smash it between your hands a little bit before you place it on your mat, and you can either pound it or just smash it into your mat. The key is making sure that your clay is about as thick as a cookie. Any thinner, and there's a good chance it could crack and break. The side that I've just smashed it into now has the texture of my hand. So I'm going to turn it over to the smoother side, and I'm going to take my template and place it on there. If you put your template right in the middle, you're going to end up wasting some of this clay and eating up more of your time. But if you put a couple on there at once or keep it close to the edge, you might be able to trace more. So I'm going to put this one right here, and I'll be using my stick, the sharp end of my stick, and make sure you sink it all the way down to the bottom of your clay mat. Pull your stick toward you. It's a lot easier to cut through clay if you are always pulling your stick toward you. And once you've got that finished, peel your template off. And you'll need to take a little bit of slip, and you'll need to smooth out the edge. This part right here, where the top of the clay meets the side, right now it's soft because the clay is wet. But once it dries, that could become really sharp. So I'm just going to round that edge by using a little bit of slip and just massaging that slip, not on the whole piece, just where that top meets the side. That's an important step. So make sure you take care of doing that. Now that I've got that finished, I have my leaf shape. When your leaf shape is complete, the next thing that you can do is you can go ahead and start drawing some of the designs you see. I've given you ideas right here. Because we're creating a mural together, we want the pieces of the mural to be consistent. So when I have a design drawn on here, that's the one that I would like you to copy onto your clay. Remember, when you're pulling your stick through your clay, always pull it towards you. And this time I'm only going surface deep. Any parts that are sticking up, they need to be smoothed down. Now I'm going to take my stick and draw some of these diagonal lines going up. Notice that I turn my clay so that I'm always pulling my stick towards me. It does not have to be perfectly symmetrical, meaning whatever you draw on one side does not have to appear on the other. To make those dots, I'm just going to use the dull end of my stick and press polka dots at the end of the leaf. So if you decide to trace that template, that's the kind of leaf that you'll be making. That way when we put the parts of our mosaic together, it will all be consistent. The pieces will look as though they belong together. Whenever you do the other leaves, it's the exact same thing. So let me share that with you. To make your flowers, it's a lot like making the leaves. You'll take your clay, you'll smash it flat, push it into your mat, making sure it's as thick as a cookie, and then you'll see some designs on the flowers. There's a couple of different ways you can go about making those designs. You can either add clay to make it more three-dimensional, or you can simply draw those designs onto your clay. I'll show you. So for this one, again, I'm going to flip it over to the smooth side. In fact, I think my clay, that looks pretty thick. I'm going to go ahead and trace around it. Always remembering to pull your stick towards you. Take that clay off as you go. You can either use it to add more to your flower, or you can use it to make your next flower. Once you've got that peeled off, smooth out your edge just like the other way, like how we were doing for the leaves. And now let's take a look at this template. I could make a circle, that circle shape in the middle, by rolling a ball of clay and smashing it flat like this. This does not have to be as thick as an Oreo cookie because you're attaching it to another piece of clay. So I could do it like that. Or to make that circle, I could roll a coil. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about creating the designs on your flower. You do whatever one that you think is going to look best for your flower. I think I like the one with the circle better. So how you replicate or copy that design is up to you. There's a bunch of different ways you can go about doing it, but remember, we're doing it to achieve a certain look. That way, when we put the pieces of our mural together, everything works together. So there's that. I see that there's polka dots, small ones. So for that, I could either roll small balls or spheres of clay, but I think what I'll do is use my stick. So you see there's a lot of different ways you can go about copying or recreating the design on those templates. It's up to you how you do it. I'm going to work on some more flowers now. The last part of our mural, the most important part, is everybody's going to contribute a bird to our collaborative mosaic. So it's the same as how you did your flowers and leaves. You'll start with a bigger piece of clay since you're tracing something larger, smushing it with your hand, smashing it or pounding it into your mat, making sure you have the correct thickness, making sure also that it's the same thickness all the way across. You can pick any bird. You'll have lots of different templates to choose from, and the designs on there are ideas for you. Once you've got this pressed flat, flip it over to the smooth side, find a bird shape that you like, and find a wing shape that you like. It doesn't matter which one that you decide to go with your bird. So I think I'll go with this one. It seems like it fits a little bit better. Go ahead and trace by pressing all the way through, just like you have been doing, always pulling your stick towards you. Now that I have my two pieces cut out, don't forget that you need to smooth out those edges where the top and the side meets, just like you've done for all the other pieces. All of our pieces need to be nice and smooth. Since this bill would be hanging in a public place where people might touch it, we would hate for somebody to get injured because somebody had a sharp piece of clay. Now that I have that done, I can look at these ideas, these templates for different ideas. The first thing I could do is start with a closed eye. If I wanted the eye closed, can use a marker cap, and just pressing the marker cap at a diagonal and taking it out, my bird looks like it's got its eye closed. If I wanted the eye open completely, then I can press the marker cap in there totally, take it out, and now I have a complete circle. I could use a little tiny bit of clay for the eye, or what I think I'll do is just use the end or the dull side of my stick. Could also add more to that, making sure to always have my stick, if I'm pressing it into my clay, at a diagonal. I'm not dragging it through the clay. If you drag it through the clay, that's what causes those little bits and pieces to pop up. And now I can start adding designs around my bird. more patterns and lines and designs you have on your bird, the more interesting your bird will look when we come to glaze it. So if you're trying to see how a design is going to look, just grab an extra piece of clay, flatten it, and just test out how you think some of these new and unusual tools. We don't often use things like paper clips and marker caps in our clay. See how these new tools will look before you go ahead and put them on your bird. Don't forget to also add some designs to your wing. When your wing is finished, we'll toothbrush it and add it to the bird. I actually think that's a little bit too big, so I might make my wings even smaller, or I could just have it be like that.